Hi everyone. So today we are going to talk about SQL Server Management Studio. As you're seeing in the screen, this is the agenda for today's discussion. So before we deep dive into SQL queries and everything, right? It is important for us to understand what is SQL Server Management Studio and what are the key components probably we might be using in day-to-day life. So as I have mentioned in my previous video, SQL Server Management Studio is a client tool that help you to connect to various SQL servers. So let me take you through a few components of SQL Server. So the left pan, what you are seeing on this is Object Explorer. Object Explorer will help you to connect to multiple servers. Now I have connected my PC. So imagine that I have a different server. So if I connect, that's going to come here. So still the server might be running somewhere else, but you would be able to connect from here, and you can right click, disconnect this, so that like it will go from the list. So still this SaaS PC SQL Express is running in a server, and here using SSMS you are just connecting. So talking more detailed about Object Explorer, it allows you to see all the components in a server. So you have databases, we have system databases. I haven't created any database in the server. So by default, when you set up a server, there will be four databases. So one is master. So master database will have the information about users, databases which you newly created, and where the files and information of the databases are stored. So model is a database in a server that help you to create new databases. That means like model would be used as a reference to create the new databases in your server. Suppose if you wanted to have a particular table in all the database in your server going forward, you can create that in model. Automatically that table will be created in all other newly created database afterwards. So MSDB is a database where it will have schedules and everything would be stored. We have job execution and history of job running logs and everything. Those kind of informations are stored into MSDB database. And TempDB is a temporary space where this database is used to store all the temporary information. Suppose when you run the query processing, you might be using temp tables. We'll be learning that in upcoming days. Temp tables, table variables, all these informations, right? So a SQL Server would be using TempDB database to store the information temporarily. So when you restart the SQL Server, so this TempDB will be cleared and it will be recreated. So that means like anything stored in the TempDB is not consistent. That is purely for temporary purpose. So other options are security, like you would be able to see the users available in this server. Like we will be also able to add the users here and different roles, audits and other server objects, backup devices. So when you create a database, you will also be getting option to take backups and everything. So we'll be talking all about that. So this is about Object Explorer. The main thing which we need to note right now is databases. And we have a query window, right? I have already used this query window just to show you like what we are talking about today. So let me open a new query window. So this new query window would help you to open up a query and you can write. So this I'm just pressing Control and mouse over to zoom or zoom out. So this is where you are going to write your SQL queries. So you like here you can see a available database window. Here you can choose like against which database you are going to write query, right? So we haven't learned anything about query. So just to understand, when you run a query here, currently this query is going to run against master database, right? And we have this execute button. So if you wanted to execute, I'll just write select DSA, and if suppose I have written the query and I wanted to execute the query, so I can click on this execute button, which would help you to get the result. So we have result pan in grid, and you also have text message, text format if you have to show any error or anything. So this is query window, and like you can also use Control E shortcut or F5 in your keyboard to execute the same query. So we'll be talking more about shortcuts and everything in upcoming sessions. So this is query window which you will be using every day to day, and Object Explorer is something which will be helping us to drill down into databases and all the informations. And if you go to this view, you can also have Object Explorer details. So that's nothing but when you click on a in Object Explorer, if you click something, if you wanted to see the detail, Object Explorer detail will be showing that. So when you click on this plus also, you'll be getting the same information, right? So when you think about a database, right? In a database, you will have tables where your data would be stored. You will have views. It is a virtual representation of tables, synonyms, programmability. So we have to go deep dive into that. Inside programmability, we will be seeing stored procedures, functions, triggers, and all these kind of things. So by default, what you have to understand from this discussion is that databases is going to contain your tables, views, and all the database level like queries and store procedure and everything in it. Okay. So we also so now once you have written the query and you wanted to use this, you can Control S, or you can go to file and you can save the file and come back and open tomorrow, right? So that means like you all have all the file operations, new projects. So you can create projects so that like you can arrange codes related to a particular project under a single project. So that's where it is, and open. So these are basic file operation. I don't want to waste your time talking about that. You have cut, copy, paste, all these things, and you'll also be able to find the shortcut, and we have options to create shortcuts. If you go to tools and options, you would be able to create keyboard shortcuts, query shortcuts, so that help you to customize a couple of shortcuts where you would be able to set, okay, this is the activity should happen when I click on Control 0, Control 9, and things like that. So that is pretty much very high level about SQL Server Management Studio. On upcoming days, there are a lot of features, activities which help you to make your life easy, right? Execution plans or template explorer, things like that, whatever you are seeing on the screen, right? This is there to help you out, but I just wanted to make sure that today our primary focus is not to go deep into this tool. It is more of like database creation and talking about database files and everything. So we have covered SSMS. We have also very high level talked about system databases. Now we'll quickly talk about database creation. So there are two ways. Everything which you're going to do, right? There are two ways. That is what you have to think. Like one, you can do this GUI to create a database, create a table, write a query, everything. And you can also do the same thing using queries. So for a easy, I'll just show you how to create a database using the GUI. You right click on the database, click on new. So it will pop up. What you have to do, you have to mention the database name. I will call it as demo database or demo DB. So now below you can see two informations. That is log file and raw data, right? So when you create a database, every database you create in a SQL server will contain two files by default, that is MDF and LDF. So this is MDF file where actual your raw data would be stored, and LDF is log. So when you do an activity, right, insert, delete operations, who did it, what was the previous data, all the history of all the activities being happening on a database is consumed in the log. Maybe if you wanted to backtrack any information which somebody has done, So this log will help you, and log is not that important when you think about data. So all the data which is required are being stored in your uh, MDF file. So let me go all the way right. So now this is the default location where the files are being stored. If you see, go on the right, express SQL data. So if you want to move this from C drive, you still be able to do it. I have got only my C drive, so I'm not going to change it. And same way for the log files, right? You would be able to do it. And you can give a file name if you are interested. I'll give so let's before we give, right, let us try giving okay, the very default step, and we'll see what happens. So now you can see the database DemoDB is created under database, and it will have all the components that I described table. So it will not have any tables other than system tables. So system tables are the tables which will hold all the information, right? Like you have master database that hold the like database level, user level information, like that. All the table view procedure, all these kind of information which resides in a database are being captured in the uh, system tables. So the database is created, and if you right click and go to properties, and if you go to the files as we discussed, right, so since I haven't given the file name, they created as like demodb.mdf demodb underscore log. So that was the file name they recommended because I had option to change it. And as I mentioned, this is the same path where it is saved. I haven't changed the path by default. And the owner is myself. This is the user which is logged in while creating this database. And you'll also see a couple of options like compatibility level is like, okay, which version this database is created. So this compatibility level help you to choose like which level this query should run, right? Because you have a dev environment with 2022, but your production is in 2012 or something. You can set that compatibility level, and all your queries are going to be running according to that. So this is a database, and it has all the default things, but we haven't created anything. So that is pretty much everything which I wanted to cover. I have covered SSMS. We also talked about database creation and how the files are stored. So when somebody talks about database hereafter, I want you to think like database are an MDF and MDF file. MDF capture the data and LDF capture the log. And system databases, like we have 4 system databases. You know what master does, model, MSDB, TempDB. So keep this in mind, like anything stored in the TempDB get clears. So this is pretty much everything, and we will be yeah, so I'll quickly show. So here in your available databases, you will start seeing DemoDB. So tomorrow onwards, when we start creating table using queries, we'll be using the same DemoDB to run the query. So now this query has run in DemoDB. So if you can see on the right corner, this is mentioned as DemoDB. So that's pretty much everything. I hope this session helped you to understand what is SQL Server Management Studio, how to create a database, and what query window is, how familiar with SSMS. So thank you. Have a good rest of the day. See you on the next video.